Let's talk about the interview. Whether you're going up for promotion, you're interviewing for a new job, or maybe you're in the military and you're getting ready to do a promotion board, NCO of the quarter, petty officer of the quarter, something like that. What are the things that you need to do? I'm going to talk to you about every step of the way to include prior to the event, during the interview, and I've got some additional tips at the end, a few things that you may not have heard before that I think will be helpful and to put you over the edge so that you can come out victorious. So let's get started. First thing, before the interview, first thing you're going to want to do is research the company. You want to know as much about the company as possible. I hope you did that prior to even applying for the job, or if you're in the job, you understand the company, or again, in the military, you understand the service that you're in. But let's say you're going up for a new job. Research the company, and then let's dive in a little deeper. What else do you want to do? You want to look on their website, on their social media platforms, see if they have anything out there that talks about what's important to them. Do they have any leaders that are on YouTube that have given any recent interviews? Listen to those interviews, put them in your memory bank so that you can potentially talk about them and show that you care by showing that you spent time preparing. So that's the first thing you want to do, is research the company. The next thing you want to do is, obviously you've put in the resume either because you work there or you're going up for a job and you've been accepted and they've reviewed your interview and they've accepted you for the next step. Now you want to review your resume as you prepare to go in the interview and remember the things that you wrote down. Check your cover letter too if you did that, just so it's fresh in your mind and you go in there saying, that's right, I talked about this in my resume. Now during the interview, let me relate to that specific event and tell them how by my actions conducting that thing that I solved that hard problem. This is why I should get the job going forward. Practice interviews questions. So any of the common questions that you hear often, things like, tell me about yourself. That's not the moment to tell them about how you learned to ride a bike at the age of 4. That's an opportunity to slip in something about you that pertains to the job, or something about you that pertains to why you should get the promotion, why you should take on the next opportunity. Let me tell you about me, and this is what I did in order to do X, Y, and Z to solve those hard problems. So they're getting to know a little bit about you, and you want to be personable, you want to relate to them, but it's an opportunity to sell who you are and why you should get that promotion, why you should be the NCO of the quarter, why you should get that job. First impressions. You never, ever get another opportunity to make a first impression. So you need to plan your outfit. What are you going to wear that day? Whether you're male or female, think through this. If you haven't already, reach out to HR and see what they think you should wear. And I've said this before, you don't want to wear a tuxedo to the beach unless you're getting married. Make sure you're fitting in with their culture. If it pertains to you, get a nice clean cut haircut. And if you have long hair, that's fine, but there's nothing wrong with getting your hair styled and prepared for that day. Whether you shave or not, make sure it's clean and trimmed so that you look the best version of yourself, because you will never again get a chance to make that first impression. If people are wearing coats and ties, then you need to wear a coat and tie, but you don't want to one-up them by putting on the tuxedo. If no one's wearing a tie and HR recommends against a tie, don't wear a tie. But what we do want to do is from head to toe, make sure that we're squared away. Again, we've taken care of our face, whether we're shaving or not, but it's well kept and it's clean and it's organized. Our clothes are either ironed or you've taken them to the dry cleaners and pressed them. If we've got on dress shoes, maybe we spent a moment shining them. Going above and beyond is what you want to do here to set yourself apart from your competition. And I realize you're not getting hired because you got creases in your outfit. However, what you don't want to do is give them a reason to take you off the list. So show that you care by planning your attire. You want to aim for an outfit that makes you comfortable. You don't want to be fidgety, whether the neck is too tight, the tie is too tight, maybe the dress is too tight, the shoes aren't comfortable. You want to be comfortable because this could be 30 minutes, it could be longer, especially if you're doing this in person. You want to make sure that you're comfortable with your outfit. So planning for success, dressing for success, and being comfortable, you'll come across as confident and someone who really is going to make a good teammate or deserves that promotion down the road. Show that you genuinely care by preparing your own questions as well. And you can come up with a myriad of different ones here. What I recommend is think through the job you're looking at and a question like, what can you expect out of me in the first 30 days? How do you grade performance? You don't want to bring up compensation necessarily at the interview, but have some questions prepared so it shows that you care. It shows that you did a little bit of homework about the company. Hey, I see that our company was bought out by so on and so forth a few years ago. How has that changed the company culture here? Something like that, professional, that allows them an opportunity to see that you care, that you put in the work, is going to go a long way. And then lastly, pre-interview. Plan your route. The reason this is important is if you live in a city, you may have to get an Uber. Sometimes Ubers don't travel at a certain time, or Lyft, or maybe you're taking your car and there's times you got to get the traffic, or maybe on Wednesdays the bridge are closed, but you don't want to leave any excuses to the fact that, man, I didn't make the interview because of X. Don't leave that up to the traffic, the planes, even if it's a remote interview. Plan through how you're going to do this. Think through it. Give yourself plenty of time because you actually don't want to show up on time. I would highly recommend you show up early, give yourself an opportunity to get to the restroom, whether you got to fix your makeup, your hair, put on that tie. You want to get there a little early, wipe away some of the sweat if need be. Maybe even take a minute to rehearse your questions, prepare yourself, collect your thoughts, pause, meditate, get ready. But all that comes by preparing your route, preparing your logistics to get there, and being ahead of schedule. The day of the interview. On that same theme, you want to arrive at least 15 minutes early. I know people will tell you in the civilian world, on time is on time. I get that. But getting ready for an interview, you show up 15 minutes early and perhaps the team is ready to bring you in early. Wow, how great is that? This guy's already early. It resonates with everyone that they're not going to have to sit around waiting for you. And if that's not the case, this just gives you a little bit more time to collect your thoughts, to prepare, get ready for the interview. So I highly recommend at least 15 minutes early. Show up, make sure the receptionist knows you're there, greet them appropriately, be kind, be professional, and be ready for when they say it's your turn. Greet everyone professionally. I mentioned that a moment ago. You want to use first names as best you can and remember those first names. I don't care if there's 7 people on the interview board, 15. You need to remember the person at the receptionist desk, the person that maybe let you in, someone who helped you on the elevator. Be as first name as possible. Don't be overly comfortable with the individuals, but use a first name when you shake their hand, look them in the eyes, greet them appropriately to say, thank you, Tom, thank you, Sally, and sit down. Now, where does this change? Obviously, if you're doing this as an NCO and you're doing it in rank or you're in the military, then it's different. Then it's sir, ma'am, potentially rank, but you'll know what the appropriate greetings are there, right? I don't need to rehash boot camp for you. You get what I'm saying. They say that 80% of communications is nonverbal. What you want to do is during the interview, make sure that you maintain positive body language. You want to sit up straight, look them in the eye, smile. Don't be ridiculous about it. Be normal, be comfortable, be a person, but don't look grumpy and mopey, crossing your hands, scowling. You're happy to be there. You want this job. You want this promotion. Have those positive mental thoughts so as you're doing the interview, you're warm, you're inviting, your body is open, you're receiving them, you're looking at them wherever they may be as they're executing the interview, and you're excited to be there. But positive body language is important. And think about that. Put that mental mindset in your head as you're doing the interview. Continue to think to yourself, positive body language. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here. It'll go a long way than the opposite. Trust me. You want to answer questions thoroughly. Specifically, take a moment to pause, not a long time, but take a moment to pause. Thank them for that question. If you have to weave your answer into the question, I don't believe in always reciting the exact question back. Sometimes you may want to do that. Or you may want to say, can you please clarify? This is how I understood it. And then answer the question thoroughly. If you can take that question, especially if it's a job position that you're getting ready to be hired for or a promotion, talk about how you've done things in the area they're asking you to perform or get promoted in, and tell them how not only did you do that job, but you saved money, you saved time, you increased efficiency. Tell them that you've already done this before, and let me show you an example of how I've done this before. It'll be very helpful. Get rid of filler words. Don't go down a long story. You want to stick to the point, stick to the question, answer the question, thank them for the question, and then move on. During the interview, the other thing you want to do is express enthusiasm and politeness and professionalism. I've talked about this throughout this video, but be grateful. Thank them for their opportunity, thank them for the time, and let them know you appreciate that question, and then weave in your answer. But you always want to thank that interviewer or the receptionist. It's very important to maintain your professionalism. These are things that you shouldn't have to be told to do. This is kind of the life lessons, right? You want to always, sir, ma'am, thank you very much, open the door, those basic common courtesies, but sometimes they get lost, and you want to overemphasize these during the interview especially. What are some additional tips that I would recommend? I highly recommend that you rehearse, especially if you're a nervous individual. Bring in a family friend, whether you do that remotely, but interview with someone, ask them to ask you questions, you interview with them, and make sure they're the kind of person they're going to tell you not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear so that you can improve. This is all about getting better so that you can really maximize your opportunity here and take advantage of this opportunity. Be yourself. Really important. As another tip to prepare for this, you got to be yourself. Listen, not all jobs out there are for everyone. There's a lot of jobs out there that I have no clue on how to do, and there would be no way I'd be a good fit for it. If you know that it's not for you, maybe you shouldn't do the interview. But once you have arrived at the interview and you're getting up for the promotion, be yourself. Calm down, relax, own the pause, look them in the eye, be grateful, and know in your heart, I'm coming in first. I wonder why everyone else is out there preparing for coming in second. second. And that's my mindset and mentality and everything I do. And I can tell you, whether I was Marine of the Quarter as a young Marine or interviewing for higher opportunities later on in my career, whenever I prepared, in my mindset, I knew if it was a truly fair interview, everyone else was coming in second. Now, that's a mindset you got to have as well. You don't want to come across as arrogant or unprofessional in that, but know that you've done all of the work possible to be ready for this, and that interview is yours to take. Follow up after the interview. You want to send a thank you email. If you can give out a handwritten card, that's just as good. Obviously, if you're going to put it in the mail, it's going to take longer than 24 hours, but do something to tell everyone, I really appreciate the opportunity to interview on this date. Thank you, Sally or Joe, for that question. Again, maybe you reiterate how you answered it and why you think you're the best person for the job, for the promotion. Follow up with a thank you. It goes an awful long way. And believe it or not everyone does this. And it might be the one thing that sets you apart from your competition. Do not interrupt. True story. I had an interview with a 4-star who I highly respect, and it was a 30-minute interview. For 28 of those 30 minutes, that individual talked. And I had good mentors, and they told me, Scott, whatever you do, don't interrupt. And so I let this individual go on and on and on. I left. I barely got a chance to even introduce myself, and I thought I have no shot at winning this. But because I was in there, I was professional. I stayed and maintained eye contact. I was squared away with my uniform, my haircut. I was ready. I found out later that my professional reputation had preceded me, and I already probably had the interview. I already had the job. It was more about he wanted to see me and make sure that I can sit there and not interrupt. Do not interrupt no matter what. Last but not least, I've talked about this ad nauseum. Everything I share on LinkedIn is about this. Network. What do I mean by that? You're getting ready to do the interview. See if you have anyone in your network that works there, that can tell you about the company culture, tell you about any inside information that you should be preparing for. I'm not talking about insider trading, but I'm talking about any inside information that you should go into the interview prepared for to show that you're knowledgeable about this organization and that you're ready. If you're really close with the person in your network, say, hey, if you don't mind, put in a good word for me as well. Let me know what you think. Let me know what else you can do to prepare for this interview, how else you can be even more ready and successful. Everything I put in here is about professional learning and how we can personally develop on my YouTube channel. So if you have any comments, questions, please put those in the comment box. And I really look forward to you seeing what you have to say, putting your comments out there, learning from each one of you. Thank you again for following me. Thank you again for watching this video. Hoorah.